Isaiah 29:15. Woe unto them that seek to hide their counsel from Yahweh, and their works are in the dark, and they say, Who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, He made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, He had no understanding? Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. The would-be judges, the 144,000, and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird. The Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that have the appearance of those heathen nations, for we are scattered, and this is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the great millstone, coming at you another lesson in truth, and to show you that the false narrative that has been pushed forth by Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, who are the Edomites written in the Bible, that have lied and covered it up and ruled this world in deceit. All right. As a matter of fact, one more scripture before I start playing some of these videos popped in my head. This is Ecclesiasticus 10:8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. All right. And the main people that's done this translation of wealth from one to the other, the leading force in that has been the Amalekites. The Amalekites hiding behind victimhood and hiding behind the lie, behind the fraud that they are the Lord's chosen people. All right. And the world knows that they are not. All right. And that they are actually the wicked brother of Jacob, Jacob's brother Esau. Or as the rabbis say, Esau, as the rabbis continue to point out the fact that Caucasian Christianity of both Europe and America are the descendants of Rome, which are the descendants of Esau, right? And they rule the world through deceit, through the lying of who they are, because Christianity has taught a love doctrine, which is fraud. The Bible does not teach that. The Bible is full of hate, judgment, and destruction. All right. There's love in there too, but that's an unbalance to only have one thing. So just as much hate and destruction and doom, there's also equal amounts of love, but it has to be a balance. And they don't teach the balance. They only teach one side. All right. Because in order for the world to be set aright, the destruction and the malice has to come. There's no other way. The Lord refers to it as if like birth pains. Once the birth pains come, the woman is going to have that baby. And right now, the baby of the apocalypse, the baby of destruction, all right, it's on its way. The birth pains have started. All right. So one of the things that Esau Edom has done is tried to hide his counsel. And the number one way he is hidden is he's hid who he is and his purposes. All right. And toward the end, I plan to play about 3 or 4 minutes of this video. It's only a 5-minute video interview of this Sister Santiago here. All right. And Sister Santiago gives you her testimony of what she did when she was in the military, when she went overseas, when she went to Iraq. All right. And we all know that there were no weapons of mass destruction. They didn't exist. So a lot of people died for nothing. Billions of dollars was spent for nothing. All right. Well, except for the gain of the Edomites who had vested interest in the military weapons, et cetera, like the Cheney family, the Bush family, who also happened to be the president and vice president at the time. And anyone who has any political intelligence at all knows that Dick Cheney was was really, ruling from the side as the vice president. Bush was just the name and the face. All right. Rumors are that he, they gave him a pass all through college, that he was about as smart as a rock. And it kind of showed in many ways. All right. But I'm going to play a couple videos that was sent to me by the beloved sister. And on how these very same ruling classes of people that I spoke of, they hide and they cover up information and keep soldiers uninformed, keep the citizens uninformed. And, in America operates, I watched that movie Wicked. All right. And the character played by Jeff Goldblum and then the character played by Michelle Yeoh, they formulated when they realized that this girl actually had real power. All right. Even though the show really was wicked and she was wicked, but she was Jake. And it turns out that the power that Edom was wielding before the world, that the heathens were wielding before the world, fraudulently, she actually had for real. And therefore, she became a threat, the same as the Hebrew Israelites are, because they know exactly who we are. Just as Paul said, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. But yet people have a problem when they hear the word Hebrew Israelite, as if the Bible is not about the Hebrew Israelites. And then they've lied about who the Hebrew Israelites are. So without any further ado, I'm gonna play the video kind of revealing the Revelation 2 and 9, Revelation 3 and 9 people. Okay? So let's take it back. I don't know why this thing always starts with no sound. That's really aggravating how it does that.
Group. I know. You look at their names, you know. Yeah, I know. Well, it's the whole.
Now this wasn't. Hold on. Let's go back. This is a conversation that was recorded. It's called the secret tapes of Nixon. All right. So let me. And why it's not playing?
The left-wing writers, and they put it in it, and that's the way it is. And they all come from one group. I know. You look at their names, you know. Yeah, I know. Well, it's the whole thing is a Jewish group. Well, you see, the Bible teaches that there is the synagogue of Satan. In other words, there are two groups. There's the group in Israel that are going back. They don't know why they're going back, but they're going back driven by God, because I believe we're getting toward the end of things. And then there's the second group that the Bible calls the synagogue of Satan, and it's that crowd that puts out all of your literature, the pornographic literature. They're the ones that are the left-wingers. They're the revolutionary leaders. They're the ones that control the media. What he has is a...
Wow. So basically, he just told you the whole thing without telling you. All right. And the two sets of people are one and the same. All right. And it's also prophesied. The reason they're going back, well, this is why, because they left this part out, as they always do. Okay. They're not there because, first of all, they're not going back. They were never from there. They were from near there, south of there, in Jordan, in Petra, in Mount Seir is actually where they came from originally. But this is Ezekiel 36:5. And it reads, "Therefore thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my lands into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey." See, this was prophesied to happen, that the Edomites would go to the land of Israel and claim it to be their own. And this is not only are these the Edomites, but this is Amalek. The Amalekites, the first of the nations, and they are the first of the nations. screaming victimhood as they commit some of the most heinous crimes, land thefts and land grabs and things of that nature that the world has ever seen. All right. And this is how they operate, and this is how they do. And it's amazing that he said we're getting to the end of things, and he's talking to the president, which is true, because what was all that was around the end of the 60s, coming into the 70s. All right. Which is also around the time of the Great Awakening of the Israelites, Ezekiel the 37th chapter. The awakening. And it's crazy when you think about it. You know, the elder apostles, not the elder apostles, but the elder bishops, you know, who have been on fire, who stay on fire, actually. You know, the elder bishops out of the main camps, New York and Connecticut. But Elder Taz was bringing out the information about the 1,000-year period. All right. How the end started and what time the end actually started. And then how when you break down 1,000 years. All right. If you looked at 1,000-year period, and if 1,000-year period is measured as one day, because the Lord tells you in Peter that 1,000 years to us, to mankind, is 1 day to the Lord. So if you take 1,000-year period and match it up with 1 day, it turns out about 42 years. All right. And the beast system is falling now. And the beast system was set in literally about 1 day ago, 42 years ago. And then when you look at the time of the awakening, it's all, everything's falling into place. All right. The whole 350 years matching up with 1970, 1969, when they said the eagle have landed. You know, when you read Obadiah, as a matter of fact, let me just read it. And it says, though they set their nest among the stars. Let me grab that real quick. Obadiah 1:4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, when they landed, they said the eagle have landed, which they never landed. Everyone knows that was a fabrication. They never went to the moon. Human flesh cannot travel through the Van Allen belt. That was already proven prior to them. That's in their own books. All right. But the chariots can go in and out, what they fraudulently call orbs, UAPs, and UFOs, which we know those are the chariots of Israel. But Obadiah 1:4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, though thou set thy nest among the stars, this will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh power. And so the America, Babylon, and NATO has been on its way down ever since. And when it said they will have power with the beast for one hour, well, 42 years breaks down to about 1 hour. And there's nothing but videos all over YouTube and the internet about the collapse of NATO, the collapse of the EU, the separation from North America, from the West, meaning the rest of the West, from the EU and NATO. All right. That's happening literally as I speak. And is a big separation. And then the Amalekites, you know, leading the rest of the world drawing the whole world into this third world war. Right. And you can clearly see the prophecies coming to pass, how the nations are going to go against, against Babylon the Great. I think that's Jeremiah 51:7, I think, where it says, the nations have hated her. Let's see if I can find that. Babylon have been, this is Isaiah 51:7. It could be 52, but it says, someone could put that on the comment board. But it says, I'm going to read 51 anyway. This is Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken her wine. I think this is it. And therefore the nations are mad. I was right on point. All right. Because the nations believed in the democracy and believed in America and followed America only to be used and misused. All right. only to be used and misused and left out to hang, when things got bad. Remember, it was America that blew up that pipeline to set off this whole thing with the collapse of the German economy, making the prophecy of the 10 toes come to pass. All right. Why America has benefited from all the NATO and EU policies, but the EU and NATO nations have suffered as a result of it. Okay. So the whole cabal is coming down and they're being exposed. So without any further ado, let's listen to this Army vet, Sister Santiago.
Serving, or anyone that's thinking about serving, don't do it. If a recruiter sat there told you, just understand that if you join, you might get deployed. You might have physical damages. You might have mental health issues. But hey, do you still want to join? No one's going to join. But if they don't tell you any of the ugly and they make it sound so appealing.
And that's exactly what they did to me. All right. Exactly what they did to me. And another similar thing, she also signed up in her junior year in high school, which is exactly what I did. Trying to prepare for my future, knowing that I just didn't want to go straight to college, thinking maybe I go to college after the Marine Corps. Because unlike her, I went into the Marine Corps. And you talking about being naive and not knowing anything. That's how they get us. All right. And we believe that this place is for us, and it is not. We're just cogs in a machine that are expendable.
I'll be like, sure. My name is Santiago. I served in the United States Army from 2005 to 2009. I was stationed in Hawaii in Schofield Barracks and then was deployed to Baghdad, Iraq from 08 to 09. I was recruited between my junior and senior year. My reason for joining wasn't anything patriotic. I was literally just pretty much a product of my environment. I was born in the South Bronx. I was born to a single mother. My dad was in jail, unfortunately. So I had to find options to get out. And my way of getting out was, unfortunately, I was getting into a lot of problems. So I joined the military, especially inner city schools, urban areas where your only way out is either to get a scholarship or join the military. So when someone's offering you free schooling, it looks extremely appealing. We went into just the regular, they use women as shield. Women can be pregnant. You have to treat them very...
You notice when she showed you the people in the cities going to the military, she showed you herself and the Southern Kingdom. This is Jeremiah 50 and 33. And it reads, matter of fact, we can take that imagery back a little bit. Take it back.
They use women as shield.
Not enough. There we go.
In the military. So when someone's...
There you go. Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Israel being the northern kingdom, so-called Latinos, Native Americans. All right. And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. And Judah, of course, you're looking at.
Offering you free schooling, it looks extremely appealing. We went into just the regular, they use women as shield. Women can be pregnant. You have to treat them very aggressively because they can hide bombs underneath their stomachs.
So you can treat it. So basically, they unalived a lot of pregnant women, is what she's really telling you, because they assumed or were told that these women have bombs in their stomachs, pretending like they're pregnant. All right. My cousin went over there and had a battle with drugs after. All right. He saw a lot of death. He buried, bodies. And that wasn't even his job. He was in the air wing, but there was so much death that they sent them out there with the grave diggers. All right. And if you remember all those pictures that they showed you from the first war in Iraq, they showed you those roads with all those bombed out roads with the, looked like it was like the rush hour got bombed and all those cars were just sitting there. Well, when you looked up close, it was dead women, children, bodies, old people, dogs in the cars eating on the bodies from the abandoned, you know, dogs that were used to be pets that hadn't been fed in weeks and just started eating on the dead bodies. All right, it was really a disgusting scene, you know, and he kind of, you know, that kind of jacked him up. And he showed me some of those images up close because the ones I was seeing on the news, you know, yeah. You saw it from a distance. They didn't show you up close. And all this was over a lie because there were no weapons of mass destruction. It was no reason to invade their land. It was no reason to kill those people, to murder, to colonize. And they still didn't get a grip on it. The land is still in chaos. All right.
It's a terrorist state. Be careful. And they want to kill Americans. That is what you're told.
They didn't tell you about the history or
none of the history. You don't get a history lesson before going. And honestly, it's easier to control a dumb soldier than a smart soldier.
Same thing about American. All right, it's easier to control dumb Americans than it is an informed Americans. And Americans are highly uninformed. And then when Americans are educated, they're educated with falsehoods. So they stand behind falsehoods, and that's the problem. And now, you know, what's being done in the dark is coming to the light. That being a problem for America. This is Luke 12:2. And it reads, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known."
So the less informed you are, the less questions you ask.
Now he is red as hell. All right. Anyone wants to deny that Esau Edom is red. He's not white. He's red. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Okay. That drill sergeant, he's Army. He's not a drill instructor. There's a difference. Right? And the Marines has drill instructors. You know, the Army has drill sergeants. But one thing stays the same. You know, as far as this guy is you know, concerned, there's no such thing as white people. All right? Point blank, period. You're either a shade of brown, like it looked like the young Northern Kingdom here. His name Young, or he could be Judah. All right, because sometimes Judah can pass for being Ephraim and vice versa. I know a lot of Ephraimites that are darker than I am. All right, you know, and I'm a very light brown. Okay, about similar to Young here. All right, but you're either a shade of brown or you're a shade of red. And red, and the Native Americans were brown. Very brown. Some is just as dark as Negroes. All right. Red paint on your face for war does not mean you're a red skin. This is a red skin. This is a true red skin, a so-called white man.
I was a geospatial engineer, pretty much providing roads and different areas that they'd be able to take in case of, let's say, a convoy being hit by a sniper. So I dealt with infantry and I dealt with the FBI and things like that. And that was my job. I was with military.
So what it is that they go and invade lands. And when people raise up to fight for their home, fight for their way of life, fight for their property, fight for their resources, America conveniently labels them insurgents, you know, terrorists, et cetera, and demonize them through their propaganda, through our media, which is all ran by the JOOs, the main people who are behind this invasion and behind this fraud. Yeah. Because like the president, whoever the president was talking to, I guess he was a pastor or preacher. I didn't know who the guy was talking to. He said, yeah, you know by their names. It's the same people. Right? When you think back to the beginning of the video. But here we go.
Personnel that were Iraqi soldiers. And I got I was able to go to their homes. I was able to interact, eat their food and stuff like that. And kind of more or less get an insight outside of a military base. They are amazing people, very loving, very welcoming. The wife cooked a meal and a half for all of us. And I got to meet the children and things like that. And I'm just watching and I'm like, they're literally living right here. And a few blocks is down, the U.S. is creating raids. Iraq.
Lies on top of lies on top of lies. Being told by this piece of shit that we're being threatened. How the hell are we way over here and they threatening us? They're threatening us because they're fighting back. They're threatening us because they're trying to keep the oil, their resources. They're trying to have autonomous wealth for themselves. And the hammer of the earth, the thief, the liar, the colonizer, the murderer, doesn't want them to do so.
Form no actual real threat to us. Because you're raised or because you're born in a different place does not mean that you're subjected or should be subjected to anything less than being a human. Especially when you're sitting there saying that you're fighting for freedom and you're oppressing everyone else while you're using the term freedom.
Damn. One more scripture. And you're murdering and oppressing everyone else while using the term of freedom. And no one does that better than here in America. This is Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work of evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields, Iraq, and take them by violence. And houses, they take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. This is what they do. And now the world sees it and they don't like it. And you're a threat to this cabal when you shine a light on them. They want to stay in the dark. Keep that spotlight, turn that flashlight off. They don't want a light shined on their wickedness.
It's a lie. It's a blatant fucking lie. A friend of mine ended up getting killed back home. And I was trying to get back home. And
you know what? We actually saw enough. She told you it was a lie. It was a blatant fucking lie. And what she was talking about, when she said it was a lie, she was talking about this man. Let's see.
Does not mean that you're subjected or should be subjected to anything less than being a human. Especially when you're sitting there saying that you're fighting for freedom and you're oppressing everyone else. Iraq formed no actual real threat.
There you go. That's what she told you. Iraq formed no actual real threat. All right? And this man's face was on TV telling you that every other day. This owl-looking weirdo, his eyes are too close together. Must have horrible peripheral vision. Funny-looking fuck.
To us. Because you're raised or because you're born in a different place does not mean that you're subjected or should be subjected to anything less than being a human. Especially when you're sitting there saying that you're fighting for freedom and you're oppressing everyone else while you're using the term freedom. It's a lie. It's a blatant fucking lie.
Luke 8:17. For nothing is secret that should not be made manifest, neither anything hid that should not be known and come abroad. All right. Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed, so-called, they made it up white people. All right. They completely made it up. Okay. I was trying to find Red Boy there. It's too short of a clip to go back and find him. There we go.
Soldier than a smart soldier.
Hold on.
Smart soldier. So the less informed you are, the less.
There he is. There he is. All right. They call themselves white. But there is nothing white about this man. Absolutely nothing. And this is the way the average white person comes. They're the real red people. And that's not sunburn. That's him. He's screaming, you know, this is what drill instructors do. And I remember their faces turning red. All right. When they get excited, when they get angry, that's what happens. All right. And some of them just look that way naturally. All right. You grab them, you smack them, you hit them. You know, what the area that you touch fills up with blood. The blood, and that's what it is, because their skin is translucent and their blood shows forth through their skin. All right. And so in 1681, they created this term whiteness. And they're not white. It's all a lie. This is last scripture. 2 Ezra 6:27. And it reads, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakah HaKodash Kwam Yasharala Abad Babal.